The first thing I want to point out is that CPS Insights acts like any other application within Compliance Pro. So it's can appear as just another tab here. And in the same way that you control access to all of the other applications that you use, you can control access to who sees and who has the ability to work with CPS Insights at your organization as well. So I'm going to spend a fair amount of time on the privacy incident dashboard. Just like with the main application, once you understand one of the dashboards, all of the others will kind of feel similar, and so we won't need to go into as much detail with some of the others. I want to talk a little bit about the general navigation, and then we'll dive specifically into the privacy incident. So once you're within the CPS Insights tab, you'll see a menu over here on it's a drop-down menu on the far right. And this is what allows you to switch between different dashboards. I've only got 3 set up right now to show you, but we have a bunch more. And depending on which ones that you want to have available, we can set all of those up for you, and then you can just switch between them here. The 2 things I'm going to show you from an application-specific side today, again, privacy incidents, and then very briefly the security incidents. And then I'm going to show you a kind of a cross-application dashboard for action items. And we have a few other cross-application dashboards coming, which I'll talk about in our roadmap slide coming up here. Next to the menu selector here, we have an export button. So you have the ability to take the current page or all of the pages in the dashboard and put it to PDF or PowerPoint or an image file. So that can be pretty handy when you just want to take something and share with your leadership. It takes the ability, you actually have the ability to take a snapshot of whatever condition it's in. So if you've applied the filters are going to actually appear applied in the export as well. Okay, across the top here we have buttons that are similar to what you're used to in the application with the tabs. So moving between these moves between different sections of the dashboard. The one we're looking at right now is key metrics, and you'll see across the top here some of the same things you might have seen on the analytics tab as well. New active cases, total cases, closed cases. We've added breaches and an average days active and a maximum days active of the cases. Each of these has if you right click on it, you have a drill through capability, which will take you into case details. And what that will do is it'll give you a list of in this case, there were 32 items that were considered a breach. And so it'll take you through into a little bit more detail. This is kind of our drill through. And if you want further details still, you can launch right into, you can use the link here and go right into that specific case and look at it and make any updates you need to there. And it does not disrupt where you're at here, so you can kind of move through and you can check a couple of them at once, and when you come back to the main screen, you've retained your place, so everything should still be in place, filters and everything else. One of the things that I think is really cool with this is the ability that the graphics and the graphs here all update based on what you select. So if I want to say breach in my outcome assessment, you'll notice that other things kind of became a lighter color. The lighter color means, these are the ones that are not highlighted. So I want to highlight things that are related to breach. So you'll see that I have some darker color around here on the discovery method types and the facilities here. That means these are the ones that are related to these breach cases. All right, so if I hover over here, it'll tell me I have 34 total cases with that, but there's 10 that are highlighted. In other words, 10 that are related to breach. If I want to switch it to a different outcome type, I can do that here. Or I can go back to the main and not be looking at any specific one at all. This works for all of them. So anything that you click on, it's going to make that adjustment. So you can see here that it's adjusting it as well. Same thing with each of these items. When you drill through, you can get to the case details from there. We'll talk about ad hoc exploration in a minute. I want to move to our next one, which is some categorizations. So here you'll see the breakdown by incident type, corrective action, PHI type, and category. All of these, again, have that drill through capability. All of them also, so the cases by categories is interesting because, as you know, you can have multiple categories associated with a case. This kind of illustrates the size of a particular category in relation to the others in terms of the number of cases that it's associated with. So if I hover over one of these, I can see, okay, I've got 40 cases for random and 38 suspicious activity. And again, I can drill through and I can look at the cases, the specific cases that had that if I need to look at the more detail. All right, and let's move on to relationships. Now here we have the region facility. You have the ability to do a drill down. So if I drill down on one of my regions, I'm now going to see the facilities within that region. And again, I can click on one of these and I'm going to see how everything's going to adjust based on that particular selected facility. Right? And then I can drill back up to see my regular facility. And if I click on, oops, come back here. There we go. I click outside of everything. Come here. There. Everything comes back to normal. Same thing with all of these. Again, click on one of these fields and it will adjust everything else in the image. Here we have I like this one because it's a kind of a year-over-year comparison. So I'm able to see for a particular quarter and month. So for January and quarter one and 2022, I had 3 cases. 2023, I had 7. 2024, I had 9. I mean, you can tell obviously this is test data, but if I want to look at it from an even higher level, so that maybe you have 5 or 7 years of data in there, you have a lot of lines on this. So if you want to look at it from a slightly higher point of view, you could actually drill up and look at it purely from the quarter standpoint. So it's now aggregating each of the 3 months in the quarter here. And so you can see your quarter totals year over year. And if I want to go back down, I just expand out to the next level, and there's my graph again. Click on any one of these and you can kind of see, this is the relationship between these two. Here I had a pretty big difference, 4 cases in 2022 and 13 in 2023. So I may want to dig into that a little bit more. And just like with the other, I can drill through on these. At the top of the period comparisons, we've got a few additional metrics. So we have a breakdown of the cases quarter to date, the cases in the last quarter, and the cases in this quarter of last year. So you can kind of see quarter over quarter, the relationship in terms of the counts. Same thing for the breaches. Breaches quarter to date, last quarter, and this same quarter last year. All right. This is true of all of them. One of the filters that we have up here on the top, this should look similar to what you're used to in the filters in regular Compliance Pro. So you have the ability to filter down. I can just look at only things for this quarter, which doesn't make for a very useful year-over-year comparison. But I can go back to a custom one, and I can put in a custom range of dates here if I want. I can put in previous year, previous quarter. It's very flexible that way. And when you don't need the filters anymore, you can just clear them and you'll be back to where you are. And then finally, let's talk a little bit about ad hoc. This is one that I'm actually really very excited about because you have it doesn't look exciting from this immediate view, but we have this what I call decomposition tree or tree graph. This gives you the ability to do kind of data splunking. You can dive down in and dig around in your data and see the relationships between things. So what I've got here is all the cases, and then you can choose different fields that you want to select. So let's say I'm interested in outcome as my first field. So when I pull that in, I'm going to see these 151 cases get divided into 65 privacy, 32 breach, and so on. Now I'm going to click and expand out and let's say discovery method. So I can see now this privacy violation, I've got this breakdown of discovery method within it. And then let's say I want to go recipient type, and we'll see that breakdown as well. Now, if I want to switch between these, let's say I want to see the same set of things for breach, I just click on breach, and it's going to adjust those accordingly. Let's say I want to see it within breach and external report, it's going to adjust those when I click on that. And I can still add additional things. It can go up to 6 deep, but depending on how many total cases you have, after about 4 or 5, it's you get kind of one case in each, and it's not all that useful. But I really like this because it really gives you the ability to explore your data. And let's say we take this off and we go straight from outcome to recipient type, and now I can go recipient type into something else. We'll say discovery method again, but now we can just see a kind of an inverse relationship of that. So this one's very cool. Now, let me jump over real quick. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but this is something we're building out, and I think it's going to have some great implications in the long run. So this is where you'll be able to ask English language questions of your data. So we're in the process of training it right now. We have a few kind of pre-built questions that you can click on over here if I want to see, total cases by facility name, for example. I've got that. But the idea is that you should be able to start typing an English language question in here, show me how many breaches by this in this quarter and so on, and it should be able to give you the answer right here. Again, this is something that we're training. It is AI, but it is not ChatGPT. It is not anything that lives outside of Compliance Pro. It is completely encapsulated in our environment, so nothing's going anywhere. And for that reason, we have to do all the training ourselves as well. So this will become more and more useful, I think, over time. So let me switch now and just quickly show you security incidents and all action items, and then we'll get to our roadmap. So security incidents is going to look very similar to the privacy incidents. Some of the data is a little bit different, so some of the distributions are different, but you can see here, we have a category distribution for this one, and it is specific to security. All of these things are based on what you have configured for your individual environments. So again, these dashboards are the dashboard definitions are available to everyone, but the data, the content comes from your private instance of Compliance Pro database, and nobody else has access to it. And whatever configurations you've done to your data, whatever custom values you have, those are the things that you're going to see in these dashboards. Same idea here. You can navigate between the different tabs using the buttons up here at the top. We've got the filter up here. Same export capabilities. I'm going to just jump real quickly to show you action items. So this is our cross-application dashboard. What this does is it's allowing you to see both privacy and security incidents in the same view. So we can see how many action items are associated with individual assignees, individual persons, and there's actually a breakdown of both. And if you hover over a particular person, it will give you an average of days open, the max days an action item has been open, and the number of overdue action items for that person. And just like with the other ones, we have a drill through capability. The columns here are slightly different because it's action items and not cases, but you got the same idea. And you can see these are applying to privacy incidents, but I have a few security incidents mixed in here. And if I click on a case, it's going to open it in, oops, I got to get into my test errand case here, 1 second. It's going to open it in Compliance Pro for that specific case to the action items page. So if you need to make edits on it, you can do that there. Let's go back to our dashboard here. Here we have action items by type, so it's kind of got the names here, and it's sorting it by the ones with the largest number of open items. Again, you can drill through, which we won't do here. If I click on one of these, it's going to adjust accordingly. And the average days open by assignee, typically you're not going to have, well, you might have a lot of assignees, but you may not, in which case you're just going to be able to see like 5 or 6 people in here. That's probably more common. And you can see the average days open in here. But again, you can see some of that from this graphic here. We're going to be building this out a little bit more, and we have a number of additional cross-application dashboards that I think you're going to find really useful in our upcoming roadmap.